Hello, Algebra class. Welcome back to Unit 7, Solving Quadratic Equations. Before we begin, make sure you have your notebook or paper and something to write with. Today is lesson 23, and we're going to be learning how to simplify the quadratic formula to find the roots. How do we simplify the quadratic formula to find the roots? Yesterday, you substituted in the values for a, b, and c into the quadratic formula. Now we're going to simplify that formula to get the value of the roots. Let's take a look at the operations in the quadratic formula. Here's our quadratic formula. X is equal to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4 times a times c divided by 2a. In order to simplify the quadratic formula, we have to perform some operations. Step 1. The first operation is going to be multiplication. We're going to multiply this negative times the value of b. Step 2. We're going to simplify this expression underneath the square root. This means we're going to take our number for b and square it, and then subtract what we get when we multiply 4 times a times c. So this expression is going to turn into one number. Step 3, we're going to multiply 2 times a in the denominator. And then step 4, we're going to write one of the roots with the plus sign, and we're going to write the other root with a subtraction sign. Let's take a look at Miss Frank's simplify the quadratic formula.
Showtime, yes, it's me. Showtime, I got another challenge for y'all one more time. It's gonna like beat. I need you watch your seat. Everybody get like go. Let's go. Swag and toe, watch, swag out, hey. Swag and toe, watch, swag out. Shoulders. Come on, shoulders. Let me see them shoulders. I'm Millie rock on any block. 2 steps, wiggle, bounce, bounce. Come on. 2 steps, wiggle, bounce, bounce. Come on, hold up. Wait, right, left, switch. Hold it, hit that tornado. Hey, let's go. Show 'em what it do. Show 'em that's down with the lightning flow.
Welcome back to our remote learning classroom. Today, we are learning how to simplify the quadratic formula. So this should look very familiar because this is what you learned how to do yesterday. You learned how to take the a, b, and c from the quadratic equation and substitute them into the quadratic formula. In the example that I used yesterday, a was equal to 2, which I have in blue. B was equal to 5, which I have in red. And c was equal to 1, which I have in pink. When we simplify, we are going to perform the operations that are in the quadratic formula. So step 1 is to simplify the negative b. So here I have a negative times a 5. Well, negative times 5 is negative 5. So that's going to be the first thing we simplify. Step 2, simplify what's underneath the square root. So right now underneath my square root is 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times 1. So I'm going to come to the side and I'm going to calculate that. 5 to the second power is 25, and 4 times 2 times 1 is 8. So I need to subtract 25 minus 8. I'm going to grab my calculator. 17. So this entire expression just simplified to 17. Step 3. I'm going to multiply the numbers in my denominator, and that's 2 times 2, which is 4. As you can see, all of the parentheses are gone because I performed the operations that I needed to perform. Step 4 is to write your two roots. I know I have two roots because I see the plus and minus. So one of the roots will have the plus sign in it. The other root will have the minus sign. I'm going to write the root with the plus sign first. All of the numbers are saying the same, but I'm going to be adding the -5 and the square root of 17. So -5 stayed the same, the square root of 17 stayed the same, and the 4 in my denominator stayed the same. All of the numbers in my simplified form stay the same. I just need to have my plus sign for this root. Now I'm going to write my other root, and again, the numbers are going to stay the same, but this time it's going to be subtraction. So here I have x is equal to -5 minus the square root of 17 divided by 4. Tomorrow, we will learn how to calculate the actual decimal. For today, you can stop once you get to this step. Let's recap. Step 1 is to simplify the -5. This says negative times 5. A negative times a 5 is a -5. Step 2 is to calculate what's underneath the square root. Underneath my square root was 5 squared minus 4 times 2 times 1. You're going to come to the side and do the calculation so that you get one number. This number is going underneath the square root. Step 3 is to calculate your denominator. 2 times 2 is 4. Step 4 is to write your two roots. So one of your roots is going to get the plus sign. The other root is going to get the subtraction sign. And then tomorrow, we will actually do this addition and do the subtraction. In this example, the values for A, B, and C have been substituted into the quadratic formula. X is equal to negative times -3 plus or minus the square root of -3 squared minus 4 times -2 times 9 divided by 2 times -2. So step 1, we're going to simplify this part of the quadratic formula. So we're going to multiply this negative times -3, which gives us 3. Step 2, we're going to simplify what is under the square root symbol. -3 to the second power minus 4 times -2 times 9. -3 times -3 is 9. And -4 times -2 times 9 is 72. You can use your calculator to figure out these calculations. Then I add 9 and 72, and I get 81. So this expression underneath the square root becomes an 81. Step 3, multiply the 2 times the -2 in the denominator. Again, you can use your calculator, and you get -4. Step 4 is to rewrite those numbers that we just found, but one root gets the plus sign, and the other root gets the minus sign. So one solution is 3 plus the square root of 81 divided by -4. And this simplifies to a number, and we're going to do that in tomorrow's lesson. The other root is x equals 3 minus the square root of 81 divided by -4. Again, this expression simplifies to one number, which is our solution, which is also the root. Your turn. Ms. Arlac is solving a quadratic equation. She substitutes the values for A, B, and C into the quadratic formula. X equals negative times -7 plus or minus the square root of -7 squared minus 4 times 3 times 4 divided by 2 times 3. What does the expression under the square root simplify to? Great job. The expression underneath the square root simplifies to 1. Negative 7 to the second power is 49. 4 times 3 times 4 is 48. And 49 minus 48 is 1. Classwork. Complete the 7.23 simplifying the quadratic formula classwork on a sheet of paper, take a picture, and upload it to Google Classroom. If you have any questions or need any assistance, please do not hesitate to reach out to Ms. Franks, Ms. Arlack, or Ms. Wilson. You got this.